Hello everybody, welcome back to a new Transformers toy review. I'm back with Transformers Age of the Primes Alpha Trion. Now, Amazon's been sending them a little early, and oof, my desk is a little dirty right here. A little dusty, sorry. Been a little busy. But anyways, this is Alpha Trion from Age of the Primes, and just off the bat right now, I just want to say this figure looks great. This is my first official Alpha Trion figure. I know there was a bunch of Alpha Trion figures. You had the Power of the Primes, was it? Where he was a lion. You had the Transformers Legacy, where it was basically a repaint of what's his name? Was it Scourge? Studio Series Scourge, and then now we have an official mold of Alpha Trion. And I know there's another one I'm missing, I believe. But most of these Alpha Trions that came out were basically repaints and remolds and stuff like that. And now for 100% we have our first Transformers Alpha Trion original mold. Its own unique Alpha Trion, basically. It's not no remold, repaint, or this mold kind of sucks, you know, because some of these molds were turning him into a lion, which was cool. I'm not complaining, but we got a Cybertronian nice mold. Now, I want to look at the detail on this figure. The detail on this figure looks great. He does have his mustache, not the full mustache, but just right here on the top. That looks pretty good. It gives it's showing vibes that's like he's still young. He's not super old and retired. He's still young, librarian and everything. He does have his Autobot logo, but I do take it off because it is a really pain for me to take it out on my copy. I believe it's just my copy, but it was so hard to take it out. It's right here, his little Autobot logo, but it looks really nice. Look at that. This is really nice. So this figure looks really, really good. You see the painting right here, this nice brown or reddish kind of color. Silver, purple right there, down more silver and then purple. Turn it around, the back is pretty good. This looks really, really great. You know, I do think that they did their best they could to hide the whole backpack. And they try to make it like a little cape. So I'm fine with this being here. So it looks like he has a cape. I believe he always has like a cape and stuff like that. So it still looks good. Now for accessories, he's really, really good for accessories and stuff like that. So I will be showing them off in a bit. But I do want to show off the Autobot insignia right here because it goes in there and it's really hard for me to take it off. Now when you get this figure, he does come with these little things right here on the sides that you can just kind of like, you can take them off. And the instructions say you can put the insignia here, which works, you know. You can put it on the side right here, like that. So it's pretty cool that you can just put this anywhere. It just sucks that once it's in there, I personally have a hard time taking it out. So he can grab it in a way. You can still... Oh, let me see if I can put this on him. He can grab it like that, but the instructions show that he can grab it because his hand's open, which is pretty cool for a Voyager class. But the instructions show that he can grab it, but I don't know how to actually grab it. But you can put it on him like that. So that's pretty cool. I really like the whole gimmick of you taking off the Autobot insignia and letting him use it however he wants, you know. So we'll just put that back in there real quick. Ooh, there we go. Now for articulation, we'll take a look first at the articulation. Your articulation is pretty good for this Voyager class. The head is on a ball joint, or no ball joint, actually it's on a swivel. He just does left and right, but there's this little hinge on his neck for transformation that allows you to look up and kind of look down a little bit. So I thought that's pretty cool. You know, since most of the Transformers heads are in a ball joint nowadays, this is pretty good to give you good movement on it. You do 360 and you can still kind of look down and then kind of look up. So this is pretty great. I do like this. head on like the joint and everything right here that he has right there. For the arms, they do have a 360. The arms can go out that much, and we do have a bicep swivel, which is pretty great. There's a bend on the elbow right here, which is really great. It's not that crazy great, but it does have some degree of movement right there. You do have kind of like this little peg for you, the arm to kind of just stay straight. So I guess that's more for transformation, but that's something right there, to be honest. So it just kind of pegs in there, so I don't know why, but it's okay. And then you also have some movement on the arm, on the hand, I mean. You can kind of move it back a little bit down. You can move it outside, but it just goes down. But that's due to transformation. You do have movement on the fingers, just like that. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, there's no swivel on the hand and nothing like that. Same thing on the other arm. You got the 360. You got the swivel on the bicep, bend on the elbow, and then open hands. That's pretty much it. He does have a waist rotation. You just gotta move this a little bit, just kind of like that. So I can just show you the waist rotation. It can do a 360, so that's pretty good. But for some reason, that just popped out on me. So be careful with your waist rotations. There we go. And then he does have that nice waist rotation. I believe you can also perform the waist rotation with the thing on. Yeah. It'll just get a little bit in the way. Yeah, a little bit. Just a little tiny bit, but that's fine, to be honest. Now for the legs, you do have a nice race on the leg. You can see how the skirt goes up. And then you do have back, not that much due to the backpack or whatever. But he does have the whole, oh no way, this happened again. It happened again. What the heck? There we go. His leg can go out that much and can go back that much. He does have a bend on the knee, pretty good. Just like a nice, really good articulated figure. He does have bent ankle tilted, which is pretty good. And he does have movement on the feet a little bit, but due to transformations, it's not that crazy, anything crazy. But other than that, he does have an ab crunch, which is pretty cool. But that's more to transformation, but you can still use it. You know, look at that. So it can go, that's all it can go for the front, but on the back it goes more than that due to transformation again. So I thought it was pretty cool that he can have all that movement for just a Voyager price. They went a little overboard with this guy right here, Alpha Trion. So I thought it was great. He does have this shield. It could be a shield. It could be part of his cape. It can have multiple uses. So the first mode is the cape. The cape has a little peg right here, and then this little peg. That's just gonna go in there. And then everything just pegs together, and then you just bring down the cape. And then he kind of like has more cape there, which is pretty kind of okay. You get some storage for that. But then you can also use this piece as a shield right here on this. Use that as shield, or you can just put it right here, just like that. And then you can also, this thing opens and then you can just reverse it to just look at the other way, just like that. And then you can just peg it right here. He does have a little hole here, and that hole will go for him. I like to keep it straight first. Just peg that in there. Oh, actually it doesn't even go there. Well, I guess it just pegs there. Let me try this side. It doesn't peg that crazy in there, but it does peg in there. Maybe that's why there's that double peg on the hand to kind of secure the peg shield. So it just kind of should look like this. That's what it'll look like. But it's not very stable, if I'm being honest. It's just kind of loose, so that kind of sucks, you know. So the shield kind of sucks. The shield mode sucks. But that's not all you get. you also get this sword, which is not a sword, but it can look like a sword. These weapons don't want to slide in there. There we go. So it can look like a knife, but we all know what it is. It's his little, you know, pen to write and stuff. So that can work as a pen. And then he does come with a book. The book is pretty cool. I do love the book. The book on this is pretty simple. You have some Cybertronian detail right there. You can really see it. Clear plastic in there. And you just rotate that, and there's Cybertronian there. And then there's no title, unfortunately, but still pretty cool. And then you can have it like the leak images that we had, where he was just like this. And then his little, you know, something like that. So that's pretty cool. It does look sick. And that's the only thing that you can do with these weapons. The bug doesn't really do much. You know, there's no really other weapon mechanism he can do. He does have just this function of this these hinges right here to make it look like it's an open bug. So that's pretty much it. It looks cool. I like it because I don't think they ever show Alpha Trion actually battling. They just show him like being like this type of character that's super ancient and that's like very smart and wise, you know, guiding Optimus Prime throughout his voyage, you know, most of the time. I think they only showed him aggressive a little bit in Transformers 1, but other than that, I think he's just chilled, wise dude that prefers to not fight. So I think it's pretty cool. He does look sick. And then for size comparison, I'm gonna do some size comparison right here. We have Optimus Prime, Alpha Trion. Here we have Deluxe Class Optimus Prime. And then we have here one of the ones that I've been anticipating is Onyx Prime, which looks really good. Very beefy, very bulky. A little weird on the transformation, but this guy looks great. I do love Onyx Prime. A lot going on with him. Not really, but still kind of getting used to it. So the scale is pretty good with these guys. You know, you can have Optimus Prime there and, you know, Alpha Trion trying to guide him. So this is pretty great. Really, really love the scale right here we have with these Autobots right now. Especially with these Primes. So far, the only huge one is Star Convoy or Star Optimus Prime. Other than that, they've all been pretty great size. Now for his transformation is pretty simple. Sorry, I just dropped some weapons from him, some accessories. Transformation is pretty simple. First we're going to do is bring down these pieces. Then we're going to bring down the hands. Just fold them in. We're going to do the same thing with the hands. Oh, this one I still have the fingers open. I'm going to bring these in. And then now what we're going to do is bring this whole section out. And we're going to bring the head just like that. And then we're going to bring this out. We're going to flip this out. Flip this whole section out. Just bring it out. It doesn't really tab there really solid, but it just taps there. And then you can bring this up. And then you bring this back down. Tab it. And then you can just bring these pieces to the side. They don't really tab anywhere. They just kind of sit there. So you can just kind of leave them like that if you want. Oh. Break these out, and that's basically it for the backpack. Now for the legs, all you gotta do is just flip this back down, flip the other one back down, bring the feet down just like that. You're gonna rotate these just like that, and then what I do recommend, the instructions say to make these pieces pop out. What I do recommend is to just kind of do with your thumbs like that on the top parts, just kind of like that, and it'll just pop up easily. Because if you just pull them, I was struggling with it, so hopefully that works for you guys. There we go, just like that. And then we're gonna rotate this whole section, and then it's gonna just look like this, which is pretty cool. And then this whole section right here, you gotta make sure that the tab for the book, for the skirt or the cape or whatever, is facing down, because then all those pieces can stack up right here. So just make sure that's there. Now we just kind of like align these to the front a little bit, because they're kind of, they don't tap there. It's just kind of weird. So we're just gonna bring this whole section down just like that. And as we do it, there's some tabs here that are gonna tap. The tabs right here are going to tap to the waist on the sides right here. So you got to be careful with that first. So we can just bring that, all that section up just to clear the way. And then you can just bring this down just to kind of, there we go. You'll hear the tab, and then you'll see the solid of all of this all together right here. So it looks how it's all together. So that's the way I think it's easier for you to just do it. And then we just kind of bring these down. And then you can just bring this whole section down back then. Just like that. And then you just bring these tabs down. And they don't even tab anywhere, which is the only thing I so far don't like. They just kind of stay there, and they really don't tab anywhere. And neither do these. They just kind of stay there. And that's pretty much it for these pieces. That's all they do. These don't tab anywhere. These don't tab anywhere. That's it. That's all they do. Which is fine, but kind of like when everything is just tabbed together. And then you're just going to bring these pieces in. And they're going to tab here. Well, I guess I was incorrected, but these pieces, I thought they would peg here to these pieces, or right here, but they only tab to the arms. So you're just going to bring these in. And then just kind of like bring it in there. Just kind of just peg that together. And then, so I was lying. They do peg somewhere, but it's not really a tab, if that makes sense, you know, like no solid pegging. It just literally slides in just to hold everything together. That's all it is. And then once you kind of just press everything there, we're gonna grab this piece right here, and then you're gonna look at it the other way, and then you see how the tabs here, we have it the wrong way. So what are we gonna do? We're just gonna flip it, bring this piece up, and then we're gonna open it. And I do like how this can like go both ways. So you're just gonna rotate them, and then they're just gonna peg right here backwards. Basically, that's all it's gonna do. And then you're just gonna bring this little piece down. There we go. And then you're just gonna bring this here. And it's just gonna tap here, just for now. Okay? And then what's gonna happen is we're gonna open it again. And then they're just gonna tap right here. These little pegs right here from the arms, they're gonna peg right here to the little squares right here. Just gonna bring that there. And then they're also gonna peg right here a little bit to the thing right here, but they don't really peg, if that makes sense. They just kind of like slide in there. So then just kind of like that. And we're just gonna slide that in there. And then, for more weapon storage, he literally just grab his book. And then his book can just peg right here. There's this little peg right here. And there's this little right here. And then with the space right here, it's just going to clear that gap. Which I thought was pretty cool, interesting, to be honest. It's really interesting. So, then you just grab this piece. And there's some pegs here. I can just go in there. So you can have it there, or you can just put it backwards. It's facing down. Like that. And then you don't really see it. And there you have Spaceship Alpha Trion. Which is pretty cool, because they keep that design of that weird Scourge type of spaceship, where it's just like a triangle, you know? And it kind of looks like a spaceship, like the Ark or something. So I do like they retain this type of spaceship mode for him, since most of the times he has a vehicle mode, a transformation, you know. He's either a lion or a spaceship, which is pretty cool. And I do like both modes, but I do like the spaceship. I was scared that he was going to be a kind of remold type of stuff from the Sweep Scourge, but when he got leaked, he's really just a new mold, which is pretty cool, and I'm hoping they do the same thing for Vector Prime. But he does look pretty cool. The back is like covered, so there's no like spots or anything. So yeah. Overall, this figure is really great. Transformers Age of the Primes Alpha Trion is a really great figure. I do like everything about it. I like the color, the painting, the sculpting. Articulation is great. Accessories are great. You get 3 accessories that some are weird and some are pretty cool and interesting, you know, considering what his character, what he doesn't really fight in most of the cartoons, or like when he pops up, he's not really much of a fighter, you know. He's much of a wise person, and they did capture that in this figure, Voyager class, with a unique out mode, which I thought was pretty cool, and it's pretty easy to transform. You know, he also has that chest piece that comes out. So overall, this figure is great. I do recommend it. I do hope that people who pre-ordered him are getting him soon. I just got mine today, September 12th, I believe. September 12th or 11th. And I also got some other figures, so he should be shipping soon. If you're seeing this video around September, I'll post it as soon as I can. Depending on what time you're seeing this video, he should be shipping out soon. And I hope everybody gets to enjoy this figure as I did, because he's pretty cool, and I finally have an Alpha Trion to stack up next to my Optimus Prime. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and thank you.